I am a woman in my 30s working overseas. They say that a woman is a woman even when she's old, but I never thought to include my mom in it. I thought that my mom was not a woman, but just a mom when she is definitely a woman also. I was such an inconsiderate daughter. What made me change my mind was because of an incident that happened a while ago. Actually, I didn't get along with my mom. Since I was little, my mom gave preferential treatment to my older brother over me, which hurt me a lot. So as soon as I graduated from college, I quickly went abroad on the pretext of a job. After that, I lived in France for over 8 years. I never came home, not even for vacation. Even for my older brother's wedding. I just came to show my face and left that very night on the midnight flight. Truthfully, I gave an excuse that it was because of work, but if I wanted, I could have taken time off for a vacation. The estrangement between my mother and me became worse. In retrospect, had I remained at home a few more days, I would have known more about my mom's situation, and a ridiculous thing would not have happened. When I realized that my narrow-mindedness caused hardships for my mother, I felt a deep pang in my heart and felt sorry. Actually, there was a good reason why my mom especially cared more about my older brother. She became widowed before she was even 30 years old, and had to raise my brother and me all alone, doing all kinds of odd jobs. Shortly after my dad passed away, the wife of my dad's friend crashed into our house and grabbed my mom's hair, accusing her of adultery. How dare you, as a widow, commit adultery with your husband's friend? Because you live such a dirty life. Your husband died at such a young age. You should be ashamed of yourself for bringing bad luck upon your husband. How dare you roll your dirty body around to seduce my husband? Without knowing anything, she was just dragged out into the street and was verbally and physically attacked. That woman wouldn't believe my mom, no matter how many times she said she was innocent. Why do you think your own mother-in-law came to me and told me about it? How upset she must have been to expose her daughter-in-law's sins when she lost her son so young. My mom screamed that it wasn't true, but it was useless because her in-laws made up the story in the first place. The person who had an affair with my dad's married friend was my aunt, who was about to get married at that time. My paternal grandma was afraid of the scandal that her daughter's wedding would be cancelled, so she sacrificed her daughter-in-law to protect her own daughter. My mom, who did not know the facts, went to her in-laws begging them to believe her, but it was futile. My mom, who learned the whole story later, cut her ties with my paternal grandparents that day. When I was in kindergarten, my paternal grandmama came over to our house and asked for my mom's forgiveness, but my mom didn't even open the door to let her in. All of her family colluded and framed my mom, so she said she didn't want to ever face them. She thought then that all the sorrow was because she didn't have a husband who could protect her. She felt everyone, including her in-laws' family, parents, and siblings, were acting disrespectfully towards her. That's when she started to become obsessed with my older brother. She felt that the head of the household must be prosperous, so that we could live without anyone pointing any fingers at us. She wanted to raise her son as a proud head of our family, to be compensated for the sorrow of not having a husband. Thanks to that, even though we didn't have enough money, my brother grew up being pampered with the best of everything, without lacking anything. Even when buying a pair of jeans, my mom always bought expensive brands, and made sure his wallet was filled with enough spending money. On the contrary, I had to do things for my brother on behalf of our busy mom. Even though we both went to school and studied, I was the one who had to make the food and set the table and be the one to do all of the laundry and cleaning in the house. It became a habit for my brother to treat me as if I was a maid. He never washed even a pair of socks with his hands, nor cooked any food, even warmed up the soup. He ordered me to do everything for him. My mother would always say, "Your brother needs to become successful, so that you can live without being pushed around by other people. So you better be nice to your brother. The person who is served at home will be served by others outside of the home." I once believed that too, but as I became older, I realized that my mom was wrong. The child is said to be a creditor in a previous life, and my brother was just that. My brother took my mother's sacrifices for granted. I felt sorry for my mom as I watched her. Even though she gave everything of hers, she never received anything from him, let alone a word of thanks. And yet she was always devoted. Looking at my mother like that, I swore that I would never live like my mom. I would not give money or affection to a child who doesn't know any gratitude. Although my brother always took from our mom, still there was only one thing that made our mom happy. It was his ability to study well. My brother excelled in his studies. He never received any extra tutoring, even once, because of her lack of money. But his grades were high enough to enter Harvard University. For my mom, he was a precious son, but when he excelled in his studies, she was proud. How proud she must have been. All the more, she couldn't pay any more attention to a mere daughter like me. I understand my mom now, but at the time, I couldn't be more resentful. I wonder why she was only hard on me when I was also her daughter that she gave birth to. Although not as good as my brother's grades, I had top grades. I wanted to go to college after graduating high school, but my mom thought differently. Not only could she not afford to send 2 kids to college, but she also wanted me to help my older brother reach success. In other words, she wanted me to help him climb the social ladder by providing financial help through working. Why are you sending Michael to college but asking me to go to a technical high school? I want to graduate from college and get a decent job like everyone else. I'm also your daughter, so why are you only taking care of Michael? My mom and I fought almost every day over which high school I should attend. I wanted to go to a college prep high school that offered AP programs, while she wanted me to just learn job skills in a technical high school to get a job after graduation. I couldn't give in to her because my future was dependent on it. But my mom completely disregarded my wishes. Who says you can't get a decent job just because you go to a technical high school? In fact, these days it's much easier to get a job than for college graduates. It's better to start working and making money sooner. Do I really have to go to college? If we had the money, wouldn't you want to send me to college as a mother? But I understand that our situation makes it difficult. So please stop talking and listen to your mother. Getting a job? Of course, you can get a job even after graduating from high school. However, the starting salary may be lower, and promotions may be limited based on one's education. But I don't understand why my mother didn't realize this. If it's because of money, I'll earn my own tuition to attend college. Then it's okay, right? I was hurt by my mother's attempts to dissuade me from attending a college prep high school. But we made an agreement that I would earn my own tuition, so I did not enroll in a technical high school. From then on, I worked part-time to save money for my tuition. A few years later, I was accepted into college, and I eagerly awaited the day when I would become the college student of my dreams. However, what happened? The money I saved, you used it to support Michael's living expenses. What about my university? Tomorrow is the deadline to pay the tuition. What should I do now? Your brother said he doesn't even have money for bus fare right now. I will try to get a loan for your tuition. I've asked around, so please be patient. If it doesn't work out, then there's nothing we can do. Anyway, in our situation, does it make sense that both of you go to college at the same time? It's breaking my back. My mom took my money and sent it to my brother without my permission, yet she was blaming me instead. She said she would try to raise money somehow, but in the end, she couldn't get the money. If money was so easily available, would she have even spent my money? With the registration deadline approaching, my mother came home looking haggard. I didn't even make any eye contact with her, and as I was about to go into my room, she said, "I just enrolled you in your university, so don't be so anxious." After she said that, she just went into her room. She said nothing about how she got that big money. I felt sorry for the way she looked, but at the same time I was also annoyed. In the first place, she gave my money recklessly to my brother. If she didn't do that, I wouldn't have anything to worry about. There was nothing for me to apologize to my mom about. Anyway, after twists and turns, I was able to go to college and live the campus life of my dreams. But unlike what I saw in the drama, there was no romance on campus because I had to work like crazy part-time to meet the semester tuition, and then turn around and face another deadline for paying the tuition without fail. My college life wasn't extremely grueling. In the meantime, my brother got a job at a large company, which was a relief. It wasn't that he earned money to give to the family, but it just meant that the money that went into his education was no longer needed to be paid. I never asked for money from home because I earned my own keep while I went to college, so my mom did not have to spend any money on us. But strangely, my mother was increasing her working hours more than before. She didn't have to work that much, and she was able to live comfortably. I told her to take it easy since she wasn't that healthy, so she needed to reduce her workload. But she said, "Your brother will bring someone home to get married, so how could we welcome a new person into the family without a decent house?" Fortunately, the condo owner is moving to another country and put the condo up for sale for less than market price, so I plan to buy it. That way, after I die, my brother will have some assets to start something, and you should get a job as soon as possible and help me pay the loan on the condo. To my mom, it was only about my brother. She was asking me to help him for an unknown amount of time in the future, to finance whatever he would need. I felt she was asking too much of me. I felt it was better to leave home and live abroad by working there. I felt I wouldn't feel hurt if I didn't see them. So I started to study French early on and looked for a job in France. And as soon as I graduated from college, I got a job and started to live in France. I thought, rather than living alone while receiving discriminatory treatment over my brother, it was better to live in a foreign land and be alone. After living in France for 8 years, I became accustomed to living alone without realizing that I had a family. But when I received a late-night phone call from home by a middle-aged man, I dropped everything in France and rushed home. "Are you the daughter of Mrs. Saunders?" the man asked in a deep voice. "I saw your phone number in your mom's address book and decided to call you." He then explained that he had my mom with him. At first, I assumed my mom was living with her boyfriend or something, but that wasn't the case. "Your mom and I are not together," the man clarified. "I just know her because she cleans the condo complex where I live. A few days ago it was very cold, and your mom was shivering in the emergency staircase. I invited her to my place to warm up, but she said she had nowhere to go. I couldn't let her stay outside in the freezing weather, so she's temporarily staying with me. The reason I'm calling you is because it seems your mom had some kind of trouble with her son and was kicked out of her place. Do you know anything about that?" This was all news to me. I hadn't kept in touch with my brother for the past 8 years, and my mom was the one who occasionally called to check on me, so I had no knowledge of her circumstances. "Are you saying my mom got kicked out of her house?" "By whom?" I asked. The man replied that he didn't know for sure, but it seemed like she wasn't getting along with my brother at home. He asked if I could come home briefly to help. He felt sorry for my mom, but she wouldn't elaborate, possibly because it involved her son, so he didn't know how to assist her. I agreed to go home. I couldn't do nothing when I heard such a distressing story about my mom, so I took time off from work and rushed back home. When my mom saw me, she had tears in her eyes and called out my name. I couldn't hold back my tears either, seeing how much older and worn out she looked. "Mom, what's going on? Why are you at a stranger's house? What happened to your house? Why were you kicked out by Michael?" My mom sobbed for a long time, as if there was a lot of sorrow built up inside her. Then she told me what had happened while I was away. According to her, my brother and his wife didn't treat her badly in the beginning. In fact, it was the opposite. They were both very kind and loving towards her. But as time went on, things changed. My brother became more distant, and his wife started to treat my mom poorly. Eventually, they kicked her out of the house. They were both very nice to my mom. Then my brother asked my mom to transfer the title of her condo to his name. He didn't want to pay the high inheritance taxes, since it would be transferred to him later anyway. However, my mom refused and stated that the condo would be distributed equally between my brother and me. After this, my brother's attitude towards my mom changed drastically. He became cold and distant, and would even ignore her when she tried to talk to him. He treated her as if she didn't exist. When they went out to eat, it was always just the two of them, and when they went on vacation, they didn't even inform my mom. My mom understood that they were newlyweds and let it go, but their actions still hurt her, especially when it came to food. They would refuse to eat with her and would buy expensive things for themselves, not allowing my mom to have any. One day, my mom ate a piece of cheese that my sister-in-law had bought, and she was cursed at for being selfish and eating someone else's food. My mom was shocked and got angry with my sister-in-law. How could she speak to her mother-in-law like that? But my sister-in-law retorted, "Did I say something wrong? It's true that you're very selfish and greedy. You want to live with your son, but you don't want to give him the condo. Isn't that being greedy? You say you'll give it to us when you die, but we won't know until then. Who knows if you'll change your mind before that?" My mom couldn't respond to such an insolent statement from her daughter-in-law. She felt helpless, especially since her own son was treating her this way. From that day on, my sister-in-law started to pester my mom. She would make a big fuss about my mom's smell and even spray air deodorant around her. And when my mom started to exercise for her health, my sister-in-law would say things like, "If you get old, you should just die," but then would make an effort to live longer herself. My mom was upset and told my brother about it, but he responded in the same way as his wife. He accused my mom of trying to cause a rift between him and his wife, and even threatened divorce. He blamed my mom for everything, saying that if she had transferred the condo to his name, his wife wouldn't be acting this way. As a son, he was upset, but he understood why his wife was angry. He told my mom to deal with it on her own and not bother him. My mom was shocked and couldn't say anything in response. From then on, she endured all kinds of verbal abuse from my sister-in-law, but she was scared that it would lead to her son getting a divorce. She never complained about the hardships she faced living with her son and daughter-in-law, so no one knew about it. Then, on the day of that freezing night, eventually the incident happened. My mom made the soup that my brother liked and overheard my brother and his wife talking in the bedroom. "Honey, I think your mom is not feeling well, so shouldn't you make sure about this place before she passes away?" asked your sister. "Even though your sister says she doesn't need this place, who can guarantee that when the time comes? The amount is so great. Don't worry, I already got an agreement. When my mom passes away, this place will become solely mine. And I even got it notarized." She went to France for over 8 years and never came home even once. So why should you worry? Before my mom dies, she needs to transfer the title to my name. But she is so ignorant and does not know how scary the inheritance taxes are. Should you worry? Even though she is my mother, she drives me crazy. Once the transfer of the title is finalized, I should send her off to a nursing home or somewhere else. My mom was shocked at my brother's words, and she entered their room and screamed at my brother. "What did you say? You are going to take away my home and send me to where? Do you call yourself my son? Are you a human being? I put up with everything out of fear that you might split up because of me, but you both took me for a fool. From a very young age, I was patient and treated you well, even though you were so selfish. But now you have become human trash. I don't need either of you, so both of you get out of my house. I don't need a son or a daughter-in-law, so get out right now. I was crazy to devote my life to my son. Mom, you're greatly mistaken. What have you done for me? Other parents do so much for their children. If you tell us to leave, don't you think we wouldn't leave? Before that, all the furniture and appliances that my wife bought, pay that back. That sofa that you sit on, the dining room table, and even that TV that you watch all day long, were all bought and brought by my wife. So until you pay them back, we can't take one step out of this house. So got that? They were so shameless, and my mom lost her will to even fight. So she packed her bag and left. But once she was outside, she had nowhere to go, so she went to Mr. Jennings' place. But she couldn't summon up her courage to ring the bell, so she was sitting on the emergency stairs. Mr. Jennings and my mom had feelings for each other, but my mom kept her distance from him, saying that until she married off all her children, she didn't have any interest in getting remarried. She felt too embarrassed to marry in a way that would cause any embarrassment to her children. Mom, what are you saying? You have to live your own life. For how long are you going to think about your grown children? Doesn't matter to me. Me. So if you want to get married, go ahead and do everything you want to do. Before then, let's get your condo back." So I held hands with my mom and headed towards her condo. Even though I pressed the bell, they wouldn't open the door. So I used the emergency door key number and was able to enter. Then my brother and his wife sat on the sofa and just stared at us. Even though our mom left home, they didn't even worry about her or think to look for her. They were eating popcorn and watching a movie. I became furious at that, so I grabbed their popcorn and threw it in their faces. "You ungrateful bastards! How could you kick your mom out in this freezing weather and eat popcorn?" Then my sister-in-law screamed at me. "What kind of manners are those? How dare you trespass at our place and act that way? Have you lost your mind? Are you crazy? Who's gone crazy? I have never had a clearer mind than right now. And this place? How is this place your place? It's my mom's place. It seems like you have confused yourself. How dare you act like you're the owner of this place? Michael, you're the same. As a son, our mom has left, yet you just sit there and watch a movie with your wife? Do you call yourself a son and act like that? With your age, you still haven't stood on your own feet and live in mom's house. What's so great about you that you act so insolently? Even when you were young, I knew how impossible you were, but I didn't know that you were worse than trash. Thinking that you were a son, I feel sorry for my mom. I don't need to talk any longer, so you better leave here right now. If not, I will get some people to drag you out, so get up right now." His wife intervened. "How dare you? Do you think you're Gene Doc or something? Who has supported your mom all this time, and how dare you blame us? Honey, I have a headache, so you should kick your sister out of the house." My brother got up even before his wife finished her sentence and pulled my arm towards the door. "You bitch, you haven't even called once. But why are you now playing the role of a good daughter? My wife is pregnant right now, and she can't be stressed. So if you have something to say, call me on the phone later. Mom, if you're siding with Mary, leave with her. You make me laugh. So your pregnant wife is important, but in this situation you have no worries over your mom? Don't you feel sorry for a mom who has dedicated herself to you? You crazy bastard. When you came into this house, what did you say to me? You told me not to worry since you would take care of our mom. With that condition, you are going to take this condo. You even notarized the agreement. Why are you acting like this? So, if you get our mom's condo, will you just throw her out? You're such a bastard. Listen carefully. You're the one who breached the agreement. So from now on, I have no intention of keeping the agreement we made. According to that agreement, you did not fulfill your responsibilities to support our mom, so you no longer have any rights to this place. Therefore, you must leave this house right now. You and your wife are like that, so I wonder what kind of baby you will have. I hope your baby will take after both of you exactly, and experience the same struggles. What are you doing? Get out right now. Just like what they did to our mom, I kicked both of them out of the house. My brother, who was cunning to have me sign the agreement, actually backfired on him. Since my mother, who is the owner, said she could no longer live with them, they had no choice. As for the furnishings that my sister-in-law bought, it's a long story to talk about. To make it short, when my brother got married, he borrowed $20,000 from me. He claimed that she had a high balance on her credit cards that she had to pay off right away, but after he borrowed that money, he never paid me back. So I decided to accept the payments with the furniture she had bought. I thought it was better to be paid like that than to never get repaid at all. When the situation played out like that, my brother was crying and holding on to our mom, but his tacky thinking made me laugh. I was worried that my mom might accept him again, but with what happened this time, my mom also closed her heart and pushed my brother away coldly. So they ended up living at his father-in-law's house. I don't know if he will last there. They will have to take care of themselves now. I also wondered about my college tuition that was sent to my brother and how my mom replenished it at that time. My mom went to see my paternal aunt and got the money like her alimony money. If she didn't pay, she threatened to tell her husband about framing my mom. Then, in less than an hour, she prepared money to give to my mom. Although my mom never wanted to see her again, because of my tuition, she couldn't help but go see my aunt. After that, she was sick for several days. When I heard that, I felt bad about it. I yelled at my mom, questioning if my brother was her only child. I felt ashamed that I left a big scar in my mom's heart. Thus, I couldn't blame my brother alone. So, I planned to live with my mom to take care of her. But she said, "It's embarrassing, but now I want to live as a woman." I thought about it a lot when you told me last time, and I found the courage to do it. I plan to marry Mr. Jennings. I am tired of being a mother. I want to live my own life now. So I want to have your blessings. That's when I realized my mom is a woman too. I was too inconsiderate of that all this time. I want to cheer for my mom on her new beginning with all my heart. I pray that my mom will be happy for a long time with her new partner. Thank you for listening to my story, and I hope that you will always be happy. Please cheer for me and share your words of wisdom in the comment section. Liking and subscribing would be a great support for me. Have a wonderful day.